That's who I got for MVP, and I don't think y'all have any arguments for anybody else, unless you just really love another player, Terrika.
I wasn't the one who gave her the fourth place vote. It wasn't me.
Y'all, it is the halfway point of the WNBA season, and that means we have to give out the names for who we thought or who we think will win these awards, like Sixth Player of the Year, Most Valuable Player, Coach of the Year, Most Improved Defensive Player of the Year. And for me, there are so many tight races, but one that is not even remotely close right now is for Most Valuable Player, because A'ja Wilson is playing at an elite level that I don't think we've ever seen before in the WNBA's history, right? The woman is averaging, get this, guys. The woman is averaging 27 points per game, 11.9 rebounds, almost 2 steals, almost 3 blocks, on 52% shooting from the field, 38% shooting from the three-point line. Remember, this is a big, okay? And 87% from the free throw line. She is all world, clearly head and shoulders above everybody else. And the rest, they're just fighting for second place. Like, you know, Alyssa Thomas. We could talk about Sabrina Ionescu. You can even throw Jonquel Jones in there, Nafisa Collier as well. We've seen how the Lynx have kind of struggled a little bit without her, with that plantar fasciitis. That's who I got for MVP. And I don't think y'all have any arguments for anybody else, unless you just really love another player, Terrika.
I wasn't the one who gave her the fourth place vote. It wasn't me.
Terrika is not blaspheming on this show. She is not going to blaspheme.
I refuse to lie. No, ma'am. I can't. No, ma'am. A'ja ain't gonna come for my neck. No, ma'am. It was not me.
My God.
Yeah, no. This is A'ja Wilson's award to lose at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it won't be an empty ballot. So sure, you know, Nafisa, she's playing at a high level. I mean, I just said Terrika Hamby is playing at an MVP type level.
Yeah.
For most of the season, Jonquel Jones has played at an MVP type level. There are absolutely other players that are playing at a high clip. Kalia Copper, you could throw her in there too. Like, definitely players that are throwing at a high clip. However, right now for me, it's A'ja Wilson, and then there's the other group of phenomenal players that are really doing well. But I just can't, like, right now, like, A'ja Wilson would have to, God forbid, I don't even want to say it, but something would have to happen for me to, at this point, be like, it's somebody else other than her.
Yeah. I would agree with you, Terrika. And the interesting thing about this MVP conversation with A'ja specifically is sometimes, you know, we'll see somebody get an MVP that's really a prolific scorer. You know, they may get 5 or 6 rebounds a game. You know, on the defensive end, they might not have as much of an impact, but somewhat of an impact. But when you think about her versatility, when you think about the fact that she is essentially a double-double, like a double-double a night, just the level of value she brings in her versatility, I think is so worth, talking about and mentioning the way that she's able to score even. She can kill you from at any point, anytime, from anywhere. And so when we think about that, coupled with what she just means to this team from a morale standpoint, all of these things matter. Her impact beyond just the basketball court and what she's even done to grow the game of basketball, especially the league this year in particular. That's why I just love her so much for the MVP. You know, I'm so impressed with the full package that she brings on both sides of the ball, on and off the basketball court. I don't think anyone comes close to that. When we think about the comprehensive approach to how she impacts, her level of impact, nobody's touching her. And to Terrika's point, I mean, she'd have to say, I retire. I don't want to play anymore. I mean, that's how far ahead she is. And just shout out to her. I mean, she had to deal with a lot of talk and crazy stuff and social media criticisms, being the underdog for no reason, being not having the visibility she deserved, not having the opportunities she deserved. And then, you know, them dealing with some like a losing streak, all these different things. But she's remained steady. So shout out to A'ja. I'm so excited for everything that she's been doing and how she's growing this game, and also showing these post players like, yo, this is what this game's gonna look like now. Like, we getting off the block. So shout out to her.
getting off the blocks. She's coming off screens,
Yeah.
right? Shooting threes. There was one
Yeah.
game, I think it was one game where she was like 3 for 4.
Yeah.
The stroke looks phenomenal.
It does.
And what's really impressive about her run so far in the WNBA is how she's kind of followed the path of a lot of greats where, she didn't make the playoffs first year. She struggled. Team didn't have success. They made it to the championship, right, against Seattle Storm, Brandon Stewart. They lost. She had some more failures, right, if you want to call them failures. The Mercury series a couple years ago. And then they finally reached the mountaintop. They go back-to-back. And she's playing at an all-time level. Again, you talk about it, Sharí, her versatility. And to that point, it's not just her versatility with her face-up game or ability to back down post players. It's also on the defensive end.
Absolutely.
It's because it's one thing to get all these blocks right and steals and how you disrupt the flow of different offenses. But for me, it's how she affects shots, even if she's not getting a hand on it.
Right.
It can be, Julie Van Loo or Khalid. I'm not taking the ball to the rack because I don't want to get my shit blocked.
Right.
That is what, that's how I evaluate Defensive Player of the Year in some respects. You have to take that in consideration because it's not just about steals and blocks. It's, are you affecting the other team's primary players and respective scorers in a way that they change their system, they change their direction on their path or whatever for a basket because of your imposing presence. And I know, so for me, A'ja Wilson is the Defensive Player of the Year as well right now. Ezzie McMagor is certainly up there. She's been playing at an all-star level. She was snubbed for sure. As much as I love Leah Boston, she did not start off the way she did last year.
Chris. If you want to preach, we're gonna let you have it. You have to get up, walk up to that pulpit right now.
I'm walking up, and I'm letting y'all know that Ezzie McMagor has been a top 2 defender in the league this year from start to finish. She's been very consistent, and she's added to her game as a short roller, ability to get into the paint. So she's up there, but for me, it's A'ja Wilson right now as Defensive Player of the Year again. But I take it that, Terrika, you do not agree with me on that.
Not this face.
Well, Chris, since you put it in the atmosphere, I do not. It has absolutely nothing to do with everything that you just said as it relates to A'ja Wilson, because all of those things are true. But I would also say that this player, to me, has shown from day one this year that it doesn't matter who you put in front of her, she's locking you down. She has put on masterclass after masterclass. And if I didn't already think she should have been Player of the Year, this woman just got up on Brittany Griner like, Brittany ain't 7 feet tall. I'm talking about Dejanay Carrington.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Honey mustard.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know. So one thing that Coach Stephanie White always talks about is understanding opportunity versus talent, right? And so this year, Dejanay Carrington got the opportunity to be a starter. Not saying that the talent had not always been there. She was second in voting last year for 6th Woman of the Year. Like, she clearly has had had the talent. She wouldn't have been in this league for 4 years, right? She's also had the pleasure and benefit of playing in a Connecticut team that has a lot of veterans, that has a strong work ethic. They're a defensive-minded team. So that was something already preached. But she already came into this league defensive-minded because that was the kind of team that Baylor had when she was there, right? Move that on to playing behind Alyssa Thomas, who's going to make sure that you get every single thing out of every single play, every single time you're on the court. Move that over to DeWanna Bonner, who also is a defensive player and was when she was in Phoenix, right? Let's move that over to Brianna Jones, who they don't even double BG. They let Bree just get it on her own, man up 1-on-1, right? You bring all of this around you, and when you talk to Dejanay, she's like, I know that I'm going to be tasked with guarding the best player or the best shooter on every single night.
Yep.
And she takes that shit personally. And I have seen Dejanay take the defense to a brand new level. She has shut down almost every single person that have been put in front of her. I cannot say that this woman don't deserve Defensive Player of the Year at this moment, because to me she does. I agree though, Ezzy would definitely be my number 2. Asia would be number 3 after that for me. But right now, I'm going with Nay.
I'm aligned with you, Terrika, and also Chris with your statements. I had Dejanay as well, and for me, being a defensive stopper was like my main job when I played in college, and I understand the attitude and the intention that goes along with you coming into a game knowing you're going to guard the best player on the other team every night. And I think it was the other night when they played, they showed to Tarika's point, all the players that Dejanay locked up over the course of this season and what their field goal percentage was. And it was like they couldn't do anything.
Nothing.
And so, she was even asked about, during, I think it was after the third quarter, she was asked specifically about her defense. And she said, it's an attitude. It's like, you got to come in. It's a level of focus that you have to come in with. And so I feel like Dejanay is putting us all in a position as fans to really take more excitement into the defensive end of the basketball. We can get wrapped up in who's shooting all the threes and who's turning and facing and how many points somebody's getting, even to how many rebounds someone's getting. But to watch her, it's almost like the impact that Gary Payton had in the NBA.
Yeah.
When, during his glove days, it was a big deal. People were waiting for him to take the ball from somebody. I feel like Dejanay Carrington brings that same energy into the WNBA, and watching her on the defensive end, but also getting so much better on the offensive end as well. I'm torn because I know you can't really technically give somebody 2 awards, but I love her as Defensive Player of the Year as well as most improved. I'm looking at her stat line.
You can definitely give people.
And I'm watching. Look, and this is the thing. I'm looking at that, and I'm also looking at what that has meant for the Connecticut Sun and how well they're still doing. So we all know it's not what happened early on in the season is not a fluke. They are still right there, and so I'm just really impressed with what her level of effort has meant for the team as a whole. And she's one of my favorites. Absolute favorite, and a whole snub when we talk about I'm sorry, y'all, All-Star Game snub. I really wanted to see her there in some capacity, but shout out to her. Keep it up, sis. And hopefully these young people, especially young girls watching that want to play this game, watch her and understand the importance of what playing defense in that way can mean for your career. So shout out to her.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And also, I want you to know that Idona asked her pregame about a week ago, what do you feel about being snubbed from the All-Star game? And sis said, I don't play this game to be an All-Star. I play to win championships.
My God.
Talk about it. About it. Okay.
Bring that organ in right there. That's a whole.
I said, oh, well, then there you go.
My God.
Like, you deserved your All-Star nod, sis. I voted for you to make the team. But at the end of the day, I can't be mad at that mentality. Like, that's why you are how you are.
Absolutely.
You keep it, as Asia says, keeping the main thing, right? You focus on the main thing. And Connecticut definitely need to be there. But, Chris, I agree with Sharí. She's also my pick for most improved player this year for everything that she said. She's averaging a career best in points. She's, again, her defense is elite. She has the opportunity now to be a starter. And she's taking advantage of every opportunity that she's given at this position. And so you can definitely give a player 2 awards. Asia has definitely won MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season.
Give it to her then, because she deserves it.
So I don't even really have much to add. She's most improved to me.